video 4. Last video we added a font awesome icon to this menu over here. We just searched the HTML to figure out where that goes, and we stole a modal and we cleaned out the modal and just changed some of the stuff at the top so that we could keep the same styling, same feel, same everything, and then just gut it out and use it for ourselves. So we had to put an item up in the menu up here, which is sidebar menu, and then we added our own modal, and we stole the, I think it was a search modal, yeah. So now we want to do is add a text box, because I want to display a drop-down list of the US states and let somebody start typing the state name in, and then let it filter down so that they can pick what state they want. Okay, well, let's go look and see. So this is pretty cool, different styling, right? I like that. A generic box, let's go add a select box, or a input type. Input type equals text, and then, oh, it's just a single tag. If we say, when we go look, and we go, so those are input boxes, just generic, right? So let's steal let's steal this, and it fits in with the theme. So that's in the search modal, and that, I know it's easier for me, but it's a select. And what's a select? It's a multi-select HTML element, which, yeah, it's an input, just a plain input type is text, gives you just this little box that you can type in. We're going to use one of those, but I also want like this multi-select just for the look, so that when all the states will be populated in it. Anyway, so let's, if we look at his, I assume it's a he, I'm not sure though, it could be a she. If we go look at the, dang it, where is search again? If we go look at search, and it's a select HTML element, he's got class layer picker. So I'm pretty sure that this individual wrote a class, because I checked, called layer picker to help style that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy this, and I'm going to call ours state picker, just because I want to keep the same styling. Padding is just space within the element, not on the, a margin is a space around the element. Background is a color, no border, font size small, border radius none. Border radius, if you increase that number, it kind of rounds the edges. And then no WebKit. I'm not going to get into WebKit and all that. But I'm going to save that CSS. It says styles custom CSS, and it was in the CSS folder. Anyway, let's go back to index, close that up. So I'm just gonna copy this, come back up, and I'm gonna put it below there, class, and not layer picker, because we made a state picker class. Why not? I could use layer picker, but if I want to change any of the styling, then I don't want to go back to the CSS sheet and mess with it, because then it would also change that other element on the modal below. So state picker ID is choose state, or let's call it state select. And data placeholder, we don't need one of those right now, for now. All right, I'm going to save that just to give it a check. So it's got nothing in it. Huh. That's okay. How do you put items into a select? You put an option into it. So option, and then slash option to end it. And the stuff in here in the middle gets displayed inside the select. So if we go look at it again, and I view, so there's Texas. Okay, and if I keep adding items, Oklahoma, last one, and then we'll populate it, Oklahoma. Okay. There's some other things we're going to do, but we'll do it in a second. So I'm going to leave that there. So now we need some script to programmatically get our data. Well, we want to get it from the back end, so we need a get method. So remember $.get, and what are we getting? Well, we're going to get localhost. This is just our Flask URL. And, well, we need to just simply call the back end, but we have to call it when something happens. So I'm going to put this in a function, actual function called populate states select. And then function, hold on, get, that's right, it's a parameter. So hold on, I got to get my mind back into the JavaScript mode. So filter is equal to something. I'll plug that in a little bit, and actually let's not use it yet. So function, I guess I should spell that right, populate state select, and then inside this function there's a get method that we pass in a function that we will get data, and then we'll process that data, because this .get will basically populate this data variable and call this function when the get method is returned, so that we can use that data. Okay, but how do we tell it? How do we tell basically the web page itself to go do that? Like, because if the modal's doesn't get shown right off the bat, so what we want to happen is we want some kind of event to happen so that it goes out and gets all the states that it needs. So, I mean, I could pre-populate that menu, but that's not the gist of this lesson. Is a little beyond that. So maybe if I start typing in here, what I want it to do is start populating down here and give me all my choices, and I can just click on one. So let's do that. Now, how can I do that? Well, in my script tag, I'm going to attach another, what am I attaching it to? Well, state select, what is it? It is state select, that's all I called it. Okay, dot key up. And what happens when we do a key up function? That gets an event, and okay, so this attaches a key up event to state select. So before we do anything, let's just say console.log, and let's just log out keep the same selector, and we're going to log out the value in that. And no, I want my input type. So input type is text, ID is equal to pick state. And so when we start typing in pick state, we want to look fire off an event, and we're going to log out the value that's in pick state. to our console. Let's save that. Go look at our screen. Open up our developer console. Look at the console. Now if we click here, I click in there and I type, pickstate.val is not a function. Alright, so what did I do wrong? Pickstate.keyup. What I did wrong was I didn't quantify that with a $, because that's how jQuery, their $sign has a whole function definition that goes with it, but that basically says call our jQuery function on the DOM element with the ID pickstate and get its value and then log it to the screen. So I think I already saved it again. So city, start typing. Alright, so as we type, it logs it to our console. So how can we leverage that for ourselves? So what I'm going to do here is just call this function. So every time you hit a key, it's going to call populate state select. Well, okay, and I should not have, let me grab this value again. So then down here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the value for that, and so let is kind of like a var keyword. It's just defining a variable, but this is a local thing. It just says let is like define this, but it's going to be local. And so we get the value out of our, now no error checking, right? If we misspell something, that's on us. So we get the value. I'm going to call it filter, because what I'm going to end up doing is passing that filter. Filter is equal to, and I'm simply going to concatenate whatever this returns from our box, and then we're going to call our back end and see what we get. So for now, I'm just going to say console.log data. Okay. So we've connected all the dots. What have we done? I think this video is getting long, but oh well. So what do we have? We've got an API. We've added some data thing up top to create, or to get all the state names. We created a route called states that uses that JSON file and is listening for the request, the GET request, to come from our index file here. And so it's going to go back to our API, ask for those values. The API will honor that request, send it back. It'll populate it into that data variable. We'll log that out to the console. But even more so, in our index file, we added some HTML so that the user could see those things and interact with them. So the HTML displays them on the screen. The JavaScript listens to the actions that we do and goes back to our backend, and the Flask API honors those requests, sends the data back. And so let's see what happens. Reload. There's my console. Oh no. I click, I type. Oh, count 2. What did we get back? We got Tennessee and Texas people. So if I delete, hit M, well, now I got count 9. Why? And why do I have a count variable? Well, in my API, the very bottom, our handle response, everything, we pass everything to this handle response, and it builds that, right? Is it successful, true or false? What's the count? Here's your results. Here's any params that you pass back to me so that you could maybe use them in a subsequent request. So if we look at our console, we see we got a count is 9. This will be helpful later. And here's our results. Main, blah, 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 blah. I haven't displayed them yet, but we'll do that right now. Okay. And close that, get us some room. Where am I? Okay, nope, that's not it. There we go. Okay. So remember, the key up says when the user releases a key, fire off this event. Then this function says, all right, give me the value out of that box, send it back, and ask the back end to give us the values to display. Okay. This is going to be a long video, but I can't help it. All right. So now what we need to do is take the items from here and display them down here in our select box. Okay. Well, how do we do that? Well, I know that I can loop through data sub results I plus. Actually, I can probably say I is less than data sub count, because I know my array is however big that is. So if I do that, now I need to add, remember we add options, but there's a couple of other things. These are called attributes. Value is equal to something. And so this is what gets displayed in between the tag, and this is a tag attribute that says if we send data back based on one of these tags that is clicked, we can put like the abbreviation for the state, or we can put another value like an index number. If you don't put anything in there, it'll just pass back when we need to the value in between those two, the option and close option. So I'm going to create an HTML string. So let HTML equal nothing. And then in here I'm going to say HTML plus equals, actually double quote. What am I doing? Just steal one. And double quote, double quote. And then in the middle here, actually I'm going to single quote this, because HTML tags like to have single quote or double quotes in the middle sometimes. So I'm going to stay consistent and just use, I'll concatenate with single quotes. And so then we can say like val equals double quote something, and we won't have to escape those. So anyway, what I need here now is data sub results sub I. What did I, oh. Okay, so that's going to give us an option tag with slash option tag. And then what I need to do is I need to throw that onto my my state select. So how do I do that? Well, inside my get method, I'm going to create a jQuery selector, and we're going to say state select dot HTML gets the HTML that I create. Okay, let's see. City M object object object. So we got 9 objects. What did I do wrong? Well, I obviously accessed them incorrectly, and that's why console is so helpful, and I didn't display them. So we do know that I need to display them for you again. So I'm going to say, where am I? You're in your chair, Terry. I know what I did, but you need to see it. So in my console, I click. Now we're going to clean up. That's not going to show up after a while, but so I type MI. So here I have count is 4, results. What does this point to? it's an object, curly braces, right? Curly braces, object, key, value, key, value. So I didn't reach in one more level and grab what I needed. So here I need dot name. I think it's name. Yeah, name. Yeah. So now you can use the dot operator to reach into JavaScript objects. In Python, we'd have to use square brackets with a key. I think I saved, click, start typing, M. So there's all of our M stuff. But I want them all to show. I don't just want Maine to show, or I don't just want Tennessee to show. See, when I don't have any selector, I get all 59 values, which went off the screen, which is whatever. We could add logic to handle that and say don't do that, but I don't care right now. All right, so there's another thing I can do is I can alter the size. And if I were to say up here in my select, and I added an attribute that says size is equal to like 5, and I hit save, now what'll happen is every time that combo box shows, or that select box, it has 5 rows in it. Well, we only want it to show what's inside of it, and we're programmers. We can do that. So with our CSS and jQuery, I'm going to create another selector. Let me just copy this. Almost done, and then I can move on to a different video. So there's another function in jQuery called attribute, and it says, hey, go to this element in the DOM, go find the attribute, go change the attribute for this tag and give it a value. You know what I'm going to give it? Count. Well, actually, data sub count. Told you we were going to use it. All right, one more time. Click. M. What did I do? Uncut reference. Oh, I probably misspelled something. ATA. Data. I was in a rush because I was excited. All right. M. Boom. Choose. All right. I'm going to stop here, and then I'll finish this up in the next video because this one's getting long. But in summary, we added an item to our menu, took a generic combo box, and we started adding the logic using JavaScript right in our index.html page, embedded right in our modal. So I think if we keep using this method of adding functionality for this project, I think you guys can keep a handle on it, and it'll all stay self-contained, and I think it's an easy way to organize. All right, I'll be back in a little bit.